Good morning, channel friends. Hello. Today we will show you how to save some old tiles. Let's say they are about 20 years old. In many homes, we still have them. They are perfect if you like this style, if you like the country or classic style. But if you want to change the kitchen for reasons of novelty or modernity, or if you don't want to renovate by throwing away and breaking the tiles, this is the tutorial for you, right? It's your day. Because we'll teach you a method to rejuvenate the tiles, but also an easy one to remove these little designs. Do you know how much it costs to remove the tiles, dismantle them, then shave the wall and dispose of them? It costs a lot. But if you take a good look at this video, you will want to do it. So, shall we start? Let's start by grouting. I'm sure for the first half hour they're going to tear their hair out. Let's go. You know that doing arbar is very important. When working with tiles is even more important. Use 2-3L hot water, 1 glass of ammonia, 3 to 4 tablespoons of baking soda. But today, it is essential to understand that the joints must be thoroughly degreased. So, in addition to our dish sponge, we also take a scrubbing brush, whichever one you prefer, and you need to go deep, really deep into the joints. The joints need to become white. Also, because these are things we don't realize with usual cleaning and maintenance of tiles. But unfortunately, the oil from frying or making a nice roast seeps into the joints, okay. So, I recommend changing the water often. Arbar can be done 2, 3, 4 times, as much as you need, and then a good rinse. But with the appropriate brushes, a stiff brush, a clothes brush, you need to scrub in the joints, otherwise the paint will peel off. We start our work using Materic Cream, a yellow spatula, or the Cenerentola spatula, whichever you prefer, and first of all, we create a base that is not too thick, but helps us to achieve definition, and most importantly, to hide the old designs. You see, this way you work the surface to carefully remove the edges and the flaps. And then we also sponge everything with a sea sponge. The sea sponge, which has been soaked and wrung out in a towel, it will help us achieve a more textured base. And the initial designs will be less visible. We do this step over the entire surface, across the whole wall, paying special attention to the areas where, as you can see, there is a gap in the joints. This is because the grout has come off over the years, leaving these small hollows. It is important for us to remove these hollows because, over time, if water or anything else gets in, it could really damage them. Can you see here? There are quite a few indentations, but we also do it all around the wall because this first layer needs to be very smooth and even. Once a few moments have passed and we see that it starts to dry, so the Materic Cream is starting to set, it is important to do this. Today it is hot because it is July. Creating texture is easy and simple, as it dries quickly on the wall, which helps us prepare the surface well. Today, we don't want to remove all the joints because I want it to be a wall with tiles that seem intentionally laid out, almost like a huge panel. So I don't want to remove the joints, but make it more contemporary. So, the first step is a rough application to eliminate any signs of designs or any grouting in the holes, in the missing joints, and we let it dry very well. Let's start. While the first coat of grout, the Materic Cream, dries, we work on the walls that will be dark sand. We use the wall paint, which is exceptional for the kitchen because it is water repellent, washable, it covers a lot, and I apply it with the Molino brush. I use a very rough brush stroke because it will look very good. We have to join it to our wall, which is also elaborate, almost delabor. While Emma does the high parts, I do the low parts. Look how much it covers. I cover everything with this type of application. In some places, there will be the kitchen covering because it will be installed tomorrow, but this is the type of application. As you can see, when the brush is empty, there is nothing left, I stop. You must not drag the paint. If you do it, it is counterproductive for you. You'll spend more money because you'll have to apply 2 full coats of paint, okay? So the trick is to carefully dip into the jar, load the brush well, using circular movements, drain the sides a little to avoid dripping, and have the brush nicely loaded. Once the brush is nice and fully loaded, you go to the wall, connect it to the first coat, ensuring everything is always nice and uniform, and carefully connect it all together. And there you have it. The first coat will need more paint as the walls in this house have different renovated surfaces, so some materials absorb more color than others. You will see the second coat will unify everything, making it luminous as it is semi-satin and you will use little. Don't worry, you use more on the first coat and less on the second. I carry on. Now the second textured coat. The first one is dry. We sped up the process a bit with a hairdryer. And as you can see, here was the first tile with the design. It is already quite covered. Now, we will show you how we work in order to make this wall truly as authentic and original as possible. It doesn't matter if you have stencils that might have some broken parts, even if they are some old stencils, or stencils that have a bit of history, or have been used for a long time and might have some wear and tear, because the layering will be very unique. Look, for example, I just tend to put this underneath. I absolutely want them to meet. Always remember the heights, Emma. We have to go to work more or less at 85. We said here, not here. Place it here, and the third stencil. We make it cross this level. Obviously, we are using 3 now, but we may use more later. This intersection will help to be very accurate in the realization. 1 more here, please. And 1 more here, so we hold it. Today, I used the oldest stencils I have, as it can get a bit ruined if not washed off immediately, but it's worth it. Now, Materic Cream. Here, Emma, help me. There are 2 fundamental steps that you need to follow. You need to listen to us carefully, because it's really a matter of drying and time. I start spreading the textured paste over the stencil in a rather imprecise manner. I don't mind if it smudges a bit, as I will still have the texture of the stencil, which doesn't need to be perfect at all. Quite the opposite. So if you have problems or are afraid of doing an imprecise job, this is definitely the task for you, because I absolutely assure you it will really turn out great even if the result isn't perfect. Indeed, don't worry. Of course, do something smart and take measurements, so that you don't end up working and doing a lot of antiquing in areas where you will place the kitchen and waste time and product. Here too, I go and cross everything. I don't care. I even go where the tape is. The important thing is that in some places the stencil pattern remains. I'm going to go out. I'm also going to cross, absolutely, and I'm going to go further down, right where I'm going to have the kitchen countertop. It's going to be at least at this height here. It will certainly be necessary to make overlaps above, below, and to the side to ensure that everything is really precise. And we do it again. Okay, I'll take some more and I will do it here and here. The 3 stencils overlap. Now Emma removes them and I will be ready with the hairdryer and a spatula. This is solely spatula, ideal for this task. As you see, it is not perfect, and that is what we want. There you go. And another thing I want to do is use the hairdryer to dry everything quickly. Here you go, Emma. Thank you. So, hairdryer and hot air. Spatula. Now I continue to the right, and left keeping in mind where the kitchen ends roughly here. We should make a mark. It is important to be homogeneous, also because I think the tiles are almost all inside the kitchen, they can be seen. So I will overlay a small stencil here, and we will definitely continue in this part. In a moment, I will show you the final effect. The second coat of Materic Cream to highlight the moldings is dry. Now we work with the pointed brush and the roller with short nap, the new one. Do not use the sponge one, it's not suited for this, and I'll work on the surface. You work with both tools. Why? Because with the pointed brush you need to go deep where the roller can't reach. Emma will do it, while, with the loaded roller, I'll make the surface perfect. Know that this step must be done well, especially because if so, a single coat of color will be enough. Then we will do another step, not exactly full color, but we need to achieve a perfect and precise application. I'll go first. Emma will follow me with the brush and we'll see all the defects disappear. Look at this roller. It provides exceptional coverage. I designed this roller with a synthetic bristle to ensure it uses very little paint, yet provides truly exceptional coverage. It is not the typical fluffy roller you can find on the market. It is a roller that I have designed to be used with Magic Paint. The tiles already have one coat. If we go over it, there are some touch-ups, smoother tiles. It's really not necessary. Before starting with the fun part, we apply the first coat of protective. We use the Satin 1. It is neither glossy, so there isn't this super modern glossy contrast, nor matte, which would be too much, nearly invisible. I recommend 2 coats for kitchen tiles. The second coat on the kitchen, where there is a lot of wear anyway, like the sink door with the drainer. Here I apply 2 coats of protective, one now under the antiquing, and I will apply a second one afterwards. This kitchen will last 10 years, and if they want to take it off, I can redo it anytime. So, as before, brush, nap roller, the magic roller, and let's begin. Applying the protective paint everywhere. It is exceptional. You won't see streaks. You won't see anything that usually bothers you with protective paint. Please make sure to make it completely uniform, because since we will also be doing a color wash on these tiles later, we need to be absolutely sure, thanks Emma, not to miss even a single square centimeter of surface. So Emma will be right behind me, as she is looking against the light with the brush, to fill any small holes that I might have missed. Okay. The protective paint dries quickly today, because it's very hot outside. We don't need to worry about that. Just be careful about this. If you need to do a kitchen and it's not summer, it's autumn or winter, don't think it will take 1 day, not even 2. The tiles are cold. They must be dry deep down. You have to touch them and feel the heat. The heat of the dried paint. In this way, having the guarantee of deep drying, it will last for many years. If you are in a hurry to paint the tiles today, because tomorrow you will have the kitchen, you shouldn't do it if it's December. Emma and I carefully finish applying the first coat, and when it is dry, we then start with the antiquing. We create the perfect color for our wash, an antiquing wash, not the final technique, as there will be the dry brush. I start with a spoonful of protective. It will make everything more. I'll double it all. It will make everything much more velvety and smooth, viscous. We also add 2 tablespoons of Tortorelle here. A spoonful of London Fume for modernity and coolness, and also a bit of vintage, because I need to warm up the mixture. I stir. If I need to, I write down the doses to make it again. If I run out of the mixture and need to make more, I just weigh everything with the spoons. I can make it without problems. Now I keep a dry microfiber sponge and a wet one close by, because we are starting to work on the surface. It's time to add a drop of water. Remember, if it's hot, you should add more. If it's cold, in winter, add less. Since all the water we put on the wall dampens the underlying surface. Some more. Let's start the antiquing. I take some color and spread it. Remember, it dries quickly when it's hot. We are in July and it's quite warm, so keep in mind that the more it dries, the longer this wash stays on the surface. Just like with furniture, it will be more visible because it stains. Then, of course, we have all our methods and techniques to lighten it, but if we want to do something perfect, remember that the less water we add, the more intense the color is and the more it stains. Now you see, I add a little drop, go down, and join it immediately. This part here that is drying, we will lighten it a bit, so there is less risk of leaving a mark. Here. Let's continue. I do it all. Up to the part one marked with paper tape. I painted that part to make it look nice, clean, and pure, but it doesn't make sense to do a color wash and waste product, as the kitchen will be in front of it and no one will see it. So we try to be precise. So with some paper tape, we mask what we don't want to paint. Then, here too, I lighten it, so there won't be any unevenness between the two parts. And then we start to lighten our section of the wall. I place the cloth like this, fold it over, and we start working slowly. There is no right or wrong. It is ultimately up to you to decide how much to remove or to leave. You need to make this tutorial your own. Remember, I'll teach you the technique, and it is up to you to make it your own. So, you can use other colors. You can add more dark colors, more light colors, color more or less. It is not a written rule. What you have to see right now that is important is, man, how this color clings. It doesn't come off even if Elisa does a color wash on the tiles. Here you go. Let's lighten up the entire area of the tiles. You can see how the mixed stencils that we did this morning come out. Beautiful. Do it slowly. Then, in a little bit, there will be the final coat of lighter color that will highlight our textures even more. But already by doing this, the whole wall absolutely comes to life. Look. One of the most common fears is that you will not do an even wash, and you are quite right. But why? Because you don't know how to make up for a mistake. That's what the tutorials are for. How to recover from a mistake. We will do the dry brush, of course. We will do that shortly. A fantastic light will come out on these tiles, but first, if for example, I finished this wash in the evening, there was bad lighting, and today in the morning, I see a lot of uneven spots that I don't like. I take a fine abrasive sponge or a 180 grit sandpaper and do this step, but I recommend doing it gently and lightly without pressing. You don't need to go deep. You see, in a second you can notice some brightness coming through, and this will help you see the surface much more evenly. So don't be afraid. If the wash is already dry, do not repaint with dark sand and then do the wash again. No, stop. A bit of fine abrasive sponge and it all works out. So I do this and I'll do the dry brush. Dry brush, technique to add brightness. As it works on furniture, it also works on walls. So, use the right brush. I am comfortable with the Maggie, a thin brush that I handle well. I take the dark sand, which is the base color I used on the tiles, and I load it a little. Very little. We don't waste paint, and we need a tiny amount here. I unload the excess onto this cardboard. And I start painting the wall in this way. It is something you might not notice immediately when you start, but the dry brush highlights all the details that were not visible until now and gives that brightness, which is very important for us today. Reload if the brush is empty and continue. An important tip, after doing the first part, to understand well if you like it or not, step back. Look at the wall from further away. This way you will be able to see if you need to redo it, intensify it, do less. There is always time to modify. I am now lightening it more, because it is not enough, and then I will change it. It's time to protect, so I'll apply the second coat of the Satin protective paint. You note that I applied the first one under the color wash. As before, I will use the roller on the smooth part and the brush in the more difficult areas where the roller doesn't reach well. Now I smooth out everything and make it even. Just a few words about the people who are a bit, let's say, skeptical and will surely have these two thoughts. 1. Elisa didn't apply the primer, it won't last. Magic Paint is unique, it's not like other paints. Elisa has been in this market for years, and you can see my tutorials. On this channel, Elisa and Magic Paint, you will find hundreds of tutorials. I wouldn't do it if I wasn't sure of what I was saying. When I tell you, please, clean well, degrease, and the pure product, I stand by it. It works. Magic Paint is the only paint in the world that does not have a primer. We do not produce the primer and don't put other companies' primers underneath because it bothers Magic a lot. Secondly, will it peel? Or will we not be able to maintain it with washing? There, I have wiped the surfaces with an abrasive sponge to remove any potentially annoying grains, so they are gone. To the touch, you can feel the texture, but it is velvety and washable. So, with a microfiber cloth and neutral soap mixed with water, it will stay in excellent condition for many years. Do not use alcohol on the tiles, nor on new furniture, as it will remove the brightness and shine and damage them. So, don't use alcohol on furniture or on painted walls. The wall is washable, cleaned with water and neutral soap, and the paint coated is washable. So you have my guarantee that it will last many years. How do we know if what I say is true? Visit the I Love Magic Paint group, type kitchen in the search bar. You will find 5 to 6-year-old kitchens, and you can ask those who made them how they are holding up. I will finish the layer and show you the result. This makeover is finished. We are back at Carlo's house to show you how this new kitchen looks on this wall. It's a challenge for me, right? To make you understand, even in renovation, you don't have to break and throw away everything and think the tile must be new. Why don't you make the custom tile yourself? Look how well this color fits, and honestly, when we entered, the effect of depth and personality was beautiful because no one can have it like you. I assure you it is very solid and gurped perfectly. It is smooth because by wiping the sponge, the surface becomes smooth. It is very pleasant to the touch. And then the 2 coats of protective paint have sealed everything. It will be so perfect for so many years and the guys will have to paint it one more time. So, I recommend that you don't be, let's say, too hasty in the renovation. There's the stress of dust, builders, and the electrician, but always remember what you save by doing it on your own can be the highlight of the house. And now let's go to the blackboard that Carlo made with me live on Wednesday. So if you want to see how to make a blackboard, go watch the live stream from Wednesday, because this was originally a glass sheet. He wanted a blackboard, and I said, well, let's make it using the same technique I used for the tiles. This way, you have a blackboard at 0 cost, nothing is wasted. So, Materic Cream, Nuit Parisian and Protective Paint. With the same products, you can do whatever you want. So, I love Magic Paint. It can be erased, but not too much. Let's leave it as it looks good. See you at the next restyling. Goodbye.